Hi everyone, it's Kayla again obviously, and today's video is kind of like a follow-up of my Nexplanon removal and reinsertion and everything that has gone down since then. Just a little recap, basically I had it removed due to prolonged periods. I went 2 years without a period after Emma's birth, and then all of a sudden my periods were extremely prolonged for weeks at a time. With heavy bleeding, cramping, and it just was not fun, and I'd have maybe a week or so in between each one. So it was just getting very expensive to take care of as far as feminine products go. Ended up getting a Diva cup, and that helped a lot, but unfortunately it's still not the life that I'm hoping to live, period-wise. So anyways, I had my Nexplanon, my old one, taken out, and I had a new one reinserted, hoping that the hormones would kind of raise back up again and would allow my periods to be a little bit more regular and not so prolonged. It has been several months since I've had that done, maybe 6 months now. And back in December, I went back to my midwife and explained that nothing has improved. If anything, has gotten worse. So I was very, not hounded, but very pushed to get an IUD instead. Well, I have never been comfortable with that thought. I've always been extremely fearful that there would be uterine wall issues. I can't think of the actual terminology for it, but I didn't want it to I didn't want to be sterile for life and have some kind of complication happen where I would never have kids again. That would be like mentally deafening for me. I want more kids, and I can't think of never having them again. That would make me extremely depressed and sad. So, I mean, she did kind of lift up my spirits and was like, that very rarely happens. Here's the percentage of when it does happen, and she had never had it in her career except for once. So she and I came to agreements that we would do an ultrasound to see if there's anything that's underlying that could be problematic in causing such long periods. And if that came out completely clear, then we would move forward in getting an IUD and take out my Nexplanon at the same time. And hopefully my periods would stop. Went to my ultrasound. I'm not an ultrasound technician, so I don't really know what I'm looking at, other than I can usually tell the uterus itself and then my ovaries. And that's pretty much the gist of it. I mean, I can tell you if it's a girl or a boy, and that's about it. So we did a ultrasound. My midwife called me and asked if I wanted to proceed, and I was like, yeah, let's go one more month and then we can probably move forward with getting that. Just because I wanted to give it a little bit more chance to try to simmer down for my period. Gave it one more month. My period was actually a lot better compared to my usual, which is not usual. My period lasted probably 2 weeks-ish. Maybe closer to 10 days with some spotting in between, and then it came back up for a few days and then completely just disappeared. So now I've gone almost 3 weeks without having a period, which is exciting. 2 days ago, I got a lovely little email from my midwife stating that she got the results from my ultrasound, and it looks like I have a complete Bicornate Uterus, I think is how you pronounce it, but I could be completely wrong. So basically my uterus is heart-shaped, and it has 2 completely separated sections of my uterus. It's like having 2 uteruses, except it's just one in 2 pieces. Which explains so much that has happened to me in my life. Okay, maybe not a whole lot, but it explains quite a bit. During both of my pregnancies, I've had a lot of spotting and bleeding and cramping, and worried about miscarriages because of that, and come to find out that these are some symptoms that happen with this type of uterus. I also, with Emma's birth, as my channel has videos of, my postpartum hemorrhage and retained placenta with Emma can be caused or linked to this uterus. So it's almost nice to hear reasons, especially when something like that was so detrimental to me. I became very depressed after Emma was born, and I cried and became woozy, and just the amount of blood loss that I had and had a manual removal without any kind of medications was just traumatizing, which for some people probably sounds silly, but for me, even to this day, it still really bothers me. And it's been over 3 years. So, I mean, it took me months to try to get back to my regular self and not feeling like I'm going to faint all the time. So it's nice to know. I got another email this morning from my midwife because I sent her one back like, okay, what does this mean? What can I do? And I explained that my period was a little better this past month, but not necessarily the best. Still longer than what they should be. And she had written back that because it's 2 complete sections, there's no way that I'm a candidate for the Mirena IUD or any IUD. And it's super hard for me to find any kind of birth control because of my Aurora migraines, which means I can't have a certain kind of hormone. So a lot of the birth control options could result in strokes for somebody like me. So it's either I stroke out, I do this uterine one, which I can't obviously do, and I can't do that one, so I'm very limited on my options of birth control. Even though I'm not sexually active right now because I'm single, I still wanted to protect myself in case anything was to happen. If I found anybody or I got raped. I just wanted to be protected as much as I possibly can for myself. And it regulates you for your periods, or so I would think. Not quite how I had wanted it to, but we're close. Whatever. So anyways, I don't know much on this type of uterus and what I should be expecting. I know that my midwife basically told me that she's going to refer me to a specialist, one of the doctors, which really frustrates me because I don't want to change from midwives to doctors, and I'm not saying that doctors are bad. My comfort level is with midwives. I really like them. I've always had them. I've never had a doctor for any of my pregnancies. It's always been my midwives. And they're the only ones in my state that do water births, and doctors do not. So I don't want to get pregnant and then not be able to enjoy a water birth. And it's so not happening if I have a doctor. So, and it's probably not going to happen either way because I hemorrhaged the last time with a retained placenta and So pray for me. I kind of really want to hear your stories. What happened to you? Are there complications that you have to go through with and without pregnancy? Do you have medications that you have to take? What was the outcome for you? Did something traumatic kind of result from this? Has it not affected you at all? Have you had normal pregnancies like I have? I mean, normal as can be, other than ripping placentas from the wall and then retaining placentas and all that jumbo. So yeah, I want to hear it all, guys. Give me your stories. I'd love to see how we connect in some ways. So anyways, guys, thank you for watching.